Okay guys, sorry about that. A few technicals going on this morning it seems. Just let me know in chat on YouTube that you can hear me and see me. Because OBS is not showing me that it's actually live, but I think it is. Okay, a few guys in there. Great, okay, let's get started. Let me just move these screens around. Morning, John. Morning, Asa. Okay, so let's just start off with the higher time frame stream. All right, on a daily chart, holding this old gap, driving up, went and tapped into yesterday's gap before that drive up. We had CPI this morning. All right, we're still holding this very clear trend on an H1. So this is your counter trend on the H1 versus the daily, which is a short. All right, so this is your counter trend grinding up. CPI typically is very nasty, so it did exactly what we expected. It did a huge flush. Okay, it washed everyone out, came down to this level of demand we created yesterday before that drive up, all right, yesterday. So held this block, drove up, washed out all of Asia and London before finding bids, before then taking out the top range. So you've got to think about this in terms of stops that we always talk about. There's one set of stops down here from people of long, one here from people who are short, one here from people who are short. Market took one side out, took the other side out, trap buyers up here, came back down. Very, very nasty type of conditions that you would typically find on higher impact news events like CPI, like FOMC. We do have some relative strength currently in NQ, because NQ, if I go over to this chart here, all right, NQ has not taken out this Newsweek low yet. All right, this low right here is the CPI low. If you check out ES, it has already taken that out and is still driving downwards, approaching previous day low on ES. VIX pumping up towards 20 now, which is the old initial balance high from yesterday. Okay, so we've had big moves. This range is massive in very short periods. So on days like today, you need to think about sizing down, not sizing up. Bear with me guys, I'm just trying to get my OBS sorted so I can see everything properly, because it's deleted some of the docs it seems. Okay, there we go, got it. Okay, so what are we waiting for now? All right, lower time frame, we are in a sell. We had that morning push, rolled over, trapped the buyers at the top. Okay, so we're in a sell signal right now, and we are in a liquidity build because we are stuck between the higher time frame algo and the lower time frame algo. Let me just turn labels on so you can see. There we go. All right, so we're coming down to this lower time frame algo right now, which is also where the 5-day moving average is. Okay, the 5-day is this blue line. That is your sort of higher time frame trend test. So if we can hold above the 5-day, there's always the possibility of a mean reversion trade all the way up to the 20-day moving average. But we did find buyers in this area yesterday and today. All right, so if we just think about these levels, This is where we put in that W formation yesterday. This is where buyers are sat. So if the market really wants to get weak, it's going to go and attack 700. All right, it's going to go and wash out all those buyers for downside pressure. Those of you who have done my course will know that we were thinking about a Tuesday high of week and a possible Wednesday failed breakout, which is what we have this morning. So we have to be thinking about that weekly model now. If we're going to really see weakness today, then this action here was simply a pump to trap buyers to dump, and then we're going to go back to the higher time frame narrative of lower prices. If you look at the H1 chart, the moment this bear flag starts to break down on the H1, we could very, very easily get a easy run for lower prices, or at least to test that low that we put in on Monday and Friday. Okay, so I'm very, very aware of that. That does not mean I want to get short here. We are in a sell signal currently. Okay, we are in a sell signal. This is a very easy channel to see. And these moves are very big. Okay, we're talking about a channel worth 100 points from downside to upside. So you cannot be chasing this. You will get stuck if you start to chase this to the downside, because it's very, very easy. Okay, if bears get stuck down at these levels, if you're chasing that breakout low, and it can do this, it can come and seek all this very, very easy. So we're just going to wait here. We've got another 20 minutes until we get the initial balance, and then we can see what we're going to get. If you think about a daily chart, right, we are in an inside day on the daily chart still. So we're inside the weekly range, we're inside the daily, which means we expect choppy action. All right, all the time we're printing inside, we expect choppy action. Really important you understand the higher time frame narrative. The higher time frame narrative is lower prices. Look at your daily chart, it is lower prices. All right, so it's just about when. We talked about this on Monday and Tuesday. We're expecting the pullback leg on the daily to then allow shorts to come back in. We had that pullback leg, we went and repriced, and we touched Wednesday, Thursday low of last week where those wicks were. Remember, we went over it the last few days. The wicks, if you look at Wednesday and Thursday, the lower wicks, that's where buyers were. Once we sold through that on Friday, those buyers will become sellers on a retest, which is what we are currently having. We're having sell pressure on the retest. Until we start breaking out from those levels to the upside, we're not really thinking about pro trend longs. Okay, so now coming into that higher time frame algo and 5-day, which is a potential cover point for shorts. Sorry, my computer this morning is having a little bit of a meltdown. So just looking to be patient here for now. If we're going to get a long, it is going to put in a squeeze or a W or something like that, lower time frame down here. All right, so we would need a failed breakout. We would need something like this to trigger a long, and you'd be looking at these levels for TP1, this for TP2, and this for TP3. But until that point, you should be thinking about short continuation, because that's what the market has provided this morning. The moment we broke down underneath these levels, okay, this was your trigger point here for shorts. Short, 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 all pops are failing, okay, and these are your flags. All right, so you should be selling all pops until proves otherwise, because the market is telling you to sell all pops. Right, don't force your opinion on the market, just stick with it. Again, we are in trend bearish in a liquidity build. Once we come underneath this higher time frame algo, this will flip to a potential trend bearish on a higher time frame. But the high time frame on this screen is just based on the screen it's looking at. It's not looking at the dailies. See that? It's trying to flick over to high time frame. So we are going to hunt that CPI Newsweek low. You can also do a so we're still waking up here, a anchored VWAP from the high of day. And that will let you know where sell pressure is currently sitting. Okay, so an anchored view up from up here. All right, so this is where sellers, their mean prices. I'll do this as red. All right, right next to VWAP and the deep pullback. Right, coming into that Newsweek low then, if we take that out, we might get a flush. Then we have to see if they dip and rip or if they sustain that flush point. Okay, that's the dip. Continuing sell pressure here as expected, all right? So we did have strength on the NQ versus ES, but we were expecting this move. Now, if you look at VIX, if you go over to a chart of VIX, you will see it is about to take out yesterday's high of day. All right, if we take out that high of day, we can expect lower prices. Okay, so continuation of sell signal here. No reason to think about longs. Everything is in a sell. If we think about the higher time frame charts here, okay, on the hourly, we've moved point of control up and we failed point of control. We failed the next point of control. We might want to come and test this now, which is 615. These are the hourly buys where people stepped in. All right, we have broken the hourly bear trend. All right, this is the bear flag. Remember, we were talking about this. So if we don't hold these levels in towards 600, all right, you can expect further rotation. Doesn't have to be today, but you can expect stuff like this, all right, because we'll use this liquidity to move down and attack these levels, okay, to complete effectively a huge cup. All right, but it will do that by using these levels of liquidity, which is why today, based on the weekly model, we were looking on that failed breakout, all right, to trap buyers above the Tuesday high. Very, very typical weekly model. Go back, listen to what I said yesterday. I didn't give you all the information, but I told you I'm looking for a high of week into Tuesday. It is very extended down here. Do not advise shorting down here. You're a very, very long way from those flow zones now. All right, flow zones are way, way up here. Just because we're extended, that doesn't mean you should be looking for the counter trend long. There's no signal long right now. Right, we are very, very heavy. Tech has all rolled over, right? We did have a mixed bag on the Mag 7. Now everything is red other than NVIDIA, which is not far away from a green to red move. All right, but everything else has gone green to red already. Qs are coming down to that level where we found bid support yesterday. All right, everything we talked about, we are coming into a potential cover point on the NQ. All right, so the NQ's cover point, or the QQQ cover point, sorry, cash gap cover point, is starting to occur. Into the hourly candle that we printed between 11 and 12 o'clock on Tuesday, all right? Into the hourly candle here that we printed between 11 and 12 o'clock Tuesday with Monday's point of control underneath. So you might see some covering coming into these levels right here. And if we fail these, we're going to be thinking about lower prices. So as you can see, market starting to get a bounce because we're into a level of demand, a level of interest. also into key daily levels. Okay, so a back test now is what you would be thinking about for a potential short continuation. A back test of these areas right here. If we don't back test, if we squeeze, all right, it's going to use it to do this. Okay, but until then, you should be expecting a back test. All right. Fill some of the imbalance which it left on that flush down, because this is clearly where buyers stepped in and got absolutely slaughtered. So if we return and those buyers become sellers, we're going to at least retest this. If we get a break of structure, we're going to continue down. You have 10 more minutes until we set that initial balance, which is going to be absolutely huge again today. I'm just going to turn my aircon down. I'll be right back. Yeah, great trade, guys. Hopefully you all got that in the room, exactly what we're talking about. Weakness into Newswick low. Let me know how many of you got that. Looks like you got it, John. Okay, continuation, weakness, potential here. All right, so you're looking, bear flag creation. I would prefer a retest up here, because I do not like shorting lows, but we can come back down and test this, which is previous day low. All right, that will be next target, will be previous day low, point of control from Monday into the low 600s. If it holds this, you need to be careful about a reprice higher into here, which is where I would much rather get short in terms of risk reward. Don't always get what we want though. We talk about that a lot of the time. We will not always get what we want. You didn't get it, Brian. Coop got it. John got it. I think Ryan already made his money this morning, I'm assuming. I think he got the long on the inversion up. Yeah, Ryan gone to work for the day already. Locked in $500. Good man. All right, so this is your draw on liquidity currently. If we're going to dig for lower prices, this is your previous day low. Okay, and this is where we found buyers. So if we zoom in here, all right, this is where we found buyers yesterday for that V-shaped recovery. So it's coming right into it, which is why we are getting a cover point here for those guys who are short. I'm just going to delete this now because we don't need it. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. It might want to reprice here. Once it reprices this, we have to see if we get sellers up here, or if that sell is now over and they might squeeze. Okay, and we're waiting for the initial balance to come now as well. Only 7 minutes away, 6 minutes away.
Sellers, yes.
Don't worry that you missed it, Brian. That's a long day ahead, mate, and a long career ahead. Don't need to get every trade. Okay, good to just zoom out, constantly remind yourself where you are. Okay, we have washed both sides. Okay, this is the potential level of demand which the market is looking to retest right here. This is what the market's looking to see if buyers are there, because we based out there for a few sessions. High, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, high, equal low. So this is where all the buyers are. If we wash this level, the grey box, right, we can dig lower. Remember that H1 has now snapped its trend. You have to be aware of that. If the H1 starts to reprice up and reject into 735 up to 750, then we are going to put in a lower high on the H1, and then we can expect lower lows on the H1. All right, that will be the start of the trend reversal on the H1. Okay, so we always think about how the higher time frames are moving. All right, so if the H1 puts in a lower high, we can expect a lower low and then rinse repeat. Okay, this is your highest high, this is your higher low, we've broken that higher low, that's your change of character. So return back in and continuation would be ideal. If it returns back in, okay, and starts to hold, then it can trap on the H1. Very unlikely right now, I would say, but we have seen a lot of V-shaped recoveries recently in the NQ. But remember, the narrative is a sell on the intraday right now. It is a sell right now on the H1. It is a sell on the daily. Most timeframes are in a sell model. That news this morning was not good. CPI was not good. We just repriced up to trap everybody. How many of you watched that debate last night, and what were your thoughts? You don't need to say who you vote for, but what were your thoughts? Did you think it was a fair debate? Have you seen the theories that Kamala was wearing an earpiece as her earrings? That's all I've seen all over Twitter this morning. I thought it was a really interesting debate. I thought Kamala handled herself pretty well. And Trump was definitely a bit flustered last night. Maybe wasn't expecting her to be quite so strong. Okay, VIX has absolutely ripped through previous day high, which is what we were talking about. So the next... Yeah, I hate politics too, dude. I only watched it to see if there was any edge in what they would say about the economy. The only thing that came up was Trump did mention that they fabricated the numbers last month, which they did. That is a fact. They did fabricate it. We all know that, because they had to come out and say that there was 800,000, not 100,000. So it's a big fabrication. That was the only thing I was interested in. So VIX right now is coming up to a level of supply. Okay, this is where we did a base drop. So this level is 2130, 2140. Down to 2080. Through that, we have a gap, right? We have a gap through that. Notice how if we go to that M5, it has tapped that block, all right? We tapped this block where those buyers are, all right? This last down close candle, it tapped and started to move up away from it. Okay, so you should be thinking about what does a bear flag look like here? What does a reprice look like? How high can this go? Remove this. Everyone in my room will know we hate shorting low of days. It's not ideal, but sometimes you've got to just find a way to get involved. 90 seconds until that initial balance is now made. If you are thinking about a long, you need to wait to see a very big reaction, all right? You need to see either a failure to move lower or a very quick move lower and move up. Would not be just longing in here waiting, because these are choppy candles and you might just get flushed on. All right, momentum is down. I tried to make it so the stream was not really delayed very much. How much delay are you guys finding on the stream? So the setting that I'm trying to play around with in OBS. All right, here is the bear flag. So the question is, do we get the bear flag play out for continuation for downside pressure, or does it fail to play out, in which case shorts might get trapped towards the lows? $20 seconds, that's quite a lot. I need to try and get that down. Okay, bear flag playing out very nicely here into the initial balance low. Notice we have now printed an initial balance low. So now IB rules will apply. All right, so we are either looking for trend continuation underneath the initial balance, or if we start to reclaim the initial balance and structure, we will be looking to reprice. So a reprice target would be all the way up here. But for now, look, the initial balance playing out, bear flags playing out into demand area, and we have this previous day low. This level right here is looming. This is the level that the market will really want to come and attack. All right, guys, I'm going to really work on getting that stream rate right down, because I'd like it to just be a few seconds, really. At least I'm calling action before it happens, so hopefully you've got time to enter trades like this. Seller sweep, yes. Right, so we have a lot of equal lows in that previous day low, from 88 down to 60. Okay, so if we can get into that, you might get a rather large flush moment, because it will be the 1, 2, 3, 4th time we have visited it. All right, so very, very likely that we are going to run these guys out of the market. So remember, we talked about it, the completion of the cup. Right, if we think about this as a giant cup, here's your completion of the cup. It might want to form a handle before going lower, right? So a cover point might cause the handle that we will then be looking to fade to go lower. Notice how many imbalances there are. This handle could come very deep before going down. We have this level here of interest. Those of you who caught the stream yesterday, remember we talked about it being a choppy day in the morning. We were expecting a choppy day because we were printing inside the initial balance. If you look over at some of the big YouTube streamers, they blew up their accounts. Exactly what we said would happen when traders chase the market and get frustrated with choppy action. Right, so we create inside days, inside balance to explore outside of it with volume once we break. So today is a really good example. We created inside action to then explore outside of it. So if you look at London, London was inside of Asia, right? So Asia was this big, London was this big, New York did this, and then did this, right? Still holding in this demand zone for now, this gray box. But this green line is the previous day low. So currently you will just have shorts starting to trim positions. Any questions so far? See if I can get this rate lower for you somehow.
Yes.
All right, lower prices, new break of structure, new bear flag. Hopefully you guys are just seeing this just play out constantly. Retest of IB low. All right, we retested the initial balance low. We failed it. We created a new bear flag right here. Push up to initial balance. So far, this is confirming a trend day lower, and we are going to stick with trend day lower until it reclaims that initial balance low, which is when we can think about a failed auction. I can't change the latency. I'm on low and I can't change it, or I'm on normal and I can't change it to ultra low until a new stream. So we will try that for tomorrow, guys. If any of you are pro experts at this stuff, let me know. Coop, I know you're really, really good at this stuff. Okay, so if we're going to do a failed auction, all right, then we can think about this, right? So using this liquidity here, and the easiest trade, as long as it's not a trap, will be this trade here for upside pressure into these levels. Until that point, we are going to stick with the short. Okay, we're going to stick with the short because you do not have a change of character until we break down or break above this level here. So this is current supply, lower time frame. This is your structure. This is your lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Why is it this one? This is the highest point before we broke that low. Okay, so it must take this out from a swing point of view to have upside pressure. Until then, we're thinking about short continuation, but we are very aware of the initial balance, because if we trade inside, this can start becoming a failed auction. So really, we'd like this to reject or a pattern like that. Okay, stick with the shorts. Remember, everything is in downside pressure right now. Thanks, Coop. Appreciate it. So you should just be thinking about continuation sells and just being aware we are near demand. We are near the previous day low, but we are in a sell signal. Okay, so if you're thinking about sizing, these areas here are where you can size heavy. It's where you've first shifted and you're expecting CPI to get run, and then you're attacking the lows. Zooming out, right, best short position was here. So if you're going to take a continuation short, this is a higher risk short now, right? So you do not need to be thinking about using the same size as you would up here. And you need to be aware that it is far more likely to try and get a squeeze rally. Even if it's not sustained, okay, if everyone's going to cover here, we might do this. You don't want to get stuck in here, add, blow up. Right, these are the common mistakes traders make. Yes, it can go lower. Yes, we are thinking about short continuation. Yes, we're thinking about continuation underneath IB low. But be dynamic. If it starts to reclaim, don't keep adding. Just cut it and wait. All right, but until that point, stick with the trade. All I'm saying is if we reclaim IB, you do not want to be hanging on to your short position. cough has almost gone. I can feel it's not in my chest anymore, which is great. Okay, looking at the book, we have some buys down at 18,600 flat. That's psychological level. The algo is flashing just underneath that at sort of 98, 97, and it's on and off. So it's definitely the algo providing liquidity there, but there is a passive order at 600, which I expect to get filled. He's been there for quite a while now. Continuation yet again. So that IB low is holding, that bear flag is holding. Again, the target right now, if it can get there, is this previous day low. Okay, because remember what we just talked about on the higher time frame. If you look at this M5 chart, 1 tap, 2 tap, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the buyers stops are around this area all the way down to here. All right, this is a large area, but this area right here, 600, then 588, 582, 568. Okay, so if it can snap those, I expect it to take out a huge amount of stops and liquidity. Buyers will try and hold it up in there, and this will be the battle. This will be the battle for the day for now, at least for the morning session. Look at the H1 chart. Remember what we talked about. This is the trend. This has not just gone in today, guys. This has been in here every day this week for the stream. We were looking for this reprice higher into this level of supply right here, and we got that failure today and snap. The moment we failed and snapped this, look at the candle here. This is a huge bearish candle. When you think about all these H1 bars, it's taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. It's taken out 2, almost 3 days worth, all right? It's effectively taken out 48 candles in 2 candles. And it's going to go further if it wants to seek this liquidity down here, all the way down for a retest. This is everything we have talked about all week on stream, even last week on Friday, all right? This move right here into this level of demand, right? This level here, which we had drawn out right here. Okay, this is the old point of control. We were expecting prices to come and seek it because the way the market works, like we talk about, is in waves, all right? So we were just making a higher time frame pullback leg. That's all it was. Does that make sense to everyone on stream? I know everyone in my room will completely understand that, but anyone else on stream who's struggling to understand why I'm talking about a higher time frame pullback leg? A lower price is coming. Again, we're looking for this green line here, previous day low, and there it goes. All right, so now we have taken out every single buyer in the market from yesterday, just got wrecked. Okay, and now we're going to dig and see if we can take out buyers from the previous days, but the easiest trade has gone. We have taken out the buyers from yesterday. We are in a trend down day. All right, we are underneath initial balance low. We retested it, failed, and now we are digging lower. This is why I keep preaching to everyone, don't guess bottoms. Do not guess the bottoms in the market. You have to understand where the liquidity is. The market wanted to seek this to take everyone out. Before the market opened today, we talked about in the room how it might want to take both sides out, and you need to be aware of it. If it could not hold its gains towards the highs and yesterday's high of day, this was the probable move. Very, very similar to FOMC. CPI moves the same way. It will absolutely wreck you if you're late to the party, because we have massive range expansion. We've now moved on the day over 300 points, and we're an hour and 15 minutes into the session. All right, so days like today, if it really wants to get heavy, you can have these days when they start doing 1,000 points. Sounds ridiculous, but we've had it in recent months. Even this move here, the initial balance move, this rejection, even if you took this reprice at 20 down to here, it's offered 50 points. All right, 2 contracts on that, 2 micro contracts is more than enough, more than enough. All right, so do we have a liquidity steal now and the drive back up? All right, this is the new question. If that was the target for the day, if that's all it wants to do, right, again, we're gonna think about this liquidity. These are only if, but, and when scenarios. Liquidity here as well. All right, so if it can do this and sustain it, then we can reprice higher. What will that mean? That will mean a short-term long, okay, on a lower time frame, a short-term long, just for higher time frame to get short. All right, so this would be the high time frame pullback leg, which is a lower time frame long. If, it's always an if, it's not guaranteed to happen. For now, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Is there a long trigger? What is the trend? Bearish. What are the flow zones? Bearish. Higher time frame algorithm is underneath the lower time frame algorithm. Bearish. We have a lot of bearish signals right now. We're under the 5-day. No reason to guess the bottoms. No reason to guess the bottoms. Don't be that person. You will get wrecked. Okay, I'd much rather you're late and join a bear flag short than guess this. Okay, because what's your risk if you're guessing this? What are you risking? Well, I can't see anything down here. There's no structure down here. So what? You're just going to get flushed. Right, which is why when you long, you need that shift, okay? Because if the market does this, a failed breakdown, you can get long here and then you're risking this low, all right? You've got a fixed risk. Much, much easier to manage mentally when you can see candle structure. Going to take you back over to that 5-minute chart. Just to remind you, we have now taken out this level of liquidity, this level of liquidity, this level of liquidity, everything we just talked about in the last half an hour, okay? Just easy. These are sitting ducks waiting to get wrecked. So the next level we're thinking about is this right here. Okay? This is the next draw lower. This is where buyers came in. All right, so these buyers came in here. We can also think about, guys, I haven't actually done this on here. Let's do an anchored VWAP off that low that we put in. I would imagine we're already well underwater on it. Yeah, so every buyer right now from a mean price is wrecked. And if we put on an anchored VWAP from the high today, right, this is where sell pressure is. Sell pressure is all the way up here. So these guys are well in the money. you will need to see a higher high, a higher low, and a candle with volume, an aggressive candle to the upside to give you some conviction that there might be a counter trend long. Till that point, you must not long, all right? Don't be just longing and hoping. There is a bid on the book down at 8,550 now, right down here. Now, he was on the book earlier and then he removed it and now he's back with less size, which makes me think he's probably a short that's trying to cover because he's probably marketed out in these areas, which is why his position size has significantly dropped. Right, so he's up to 44 contracts now. I think he was at 100 contracts earlier. So he's probably just trimming positions. Typically, when we get trend days, all right, on the S&P and the Nasdaq, typically when we get trend days, we close near the lows, all right? If you look at data, we typically close very, very close to the low. So if this sustains a trend day down, any long, any pop is going to be very short-term relief. All right, as a reminder, if you go over to the higher time frames, does this M5 look like something you want to long? Does this H1 candle look like something you want to long? That's what you need to ask yourself. Right, so any long is going to be very short-lived. So if you're waiting for that long today, all right, you need to wait for a shift and you need to understand that everything above you is bearish. So you will find resistance at all these levels. This is not like yesterday, okay? The structure of this move is not like yesterday because the higher time frame has shifted. Yesterday, when we did these moves down, we were holding bullish momentum, right? We were holding bullish demand blocks for more upside pressure. Today, we have snapped. We have changed the structure on the higher time frame. We have snapped the bear flag. So there is nothing here that is like yesterday to be like, oh, we're going to go and make a new high, right? This is a very, very different move today because of the structure. Think about this. There's your low pivot. Higher, high, higher low, high, high, higher low, high, high, higher low, high, high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. That's what we're expecting today. Structure has shifted on the high time frame. Okay, so we have a sell order now stacked up at 585. All right, that's the biggest order on the book at the moment. So he's looking to get filled for a sell at 585 currently, which is the previous day's low. So he's looking for a push back up on the daily to the previous day low and a rejection. Peep the daily, guys. Peep the daily. All right, remember what we talked about, especially in the room, and I posted it on Twitter. We were expecting the Bollinger Bands to start opening up for downside pressure. So we've tested that 5-day. If we're going to come down now, the Bollinger Bands going down, if the 5-day goes down with it, we have room to trend down, all right? That's why this is a giant bear flag and we can trend lower, because now the Bollinger Bands have moved downwards instead of sideways, right? This is all about pressure on the stochastics and what's going to allow further downside room, all right? We needed the Bollinger Bands, we needed that mean reversion to allow this. The elastic band had to come back together a little bit. We were extended outside of it. If you don't understand how to use Bollinger Bands on higher time frames, there is a lesson on my YouTube completely free. If you just search it, it will come up. I teach you how to use Bollinger Bands 5-day, 20-day to understand higher time frame narrative. Okay, all of Mag 7 now red, exactly what we talked about. Everything has done a green to red move on Mag 7, and they've all lost key prices, all right? Apple is under that 220 we talked about, it's at 218. Microsoft, 410. Amazon, sitting just above 175. Google, underneath 150. Meta, underneath 500 at 496. Nvidia, underneath 110, now at 107. Tesla is underneath 220 at 217. So all these key levels coming into effect. So if we backtest those key levels and we find supply, we can expect lower prices. VIX is on an absolute tear, exactly like we talked about. So if VIX can break out of this 2150 area, then we're into that gap that we talked about. So this is the top level of supply in VIX currently. And if we break that, we have a gap fill potential all the way up to 22. If we do that, the market is going to get destroyed. There is absolutely nothing to do here unless you are holding on to your short. Watch out for that reclaim of the previous day low and the initial balance. All right, those are your long triggers. See you, Coop. Yeah, I'll be on till lunchtime today. I'm going to try and stream till lunchtime most days. All right, market just having a little breather. It's been a big move down. We are expecting some form of pop soon to allow any continuation. So that was your previous day low test, pretty much. So far, sellers staying heavy there. Didn't quite make that guy 85, and he has now lifted his offer because of it. So I'm always watching the tape while I'm watching candlesticks. Candlesticks matter to me, so does the tape. I'm interested in where sellers and buyers are flashing and participating. You should be thinking about where relief might want to come to, all right? Where relief might want to come to for continuation. If you're thinking about the long, you need to wait for a break in structure. So a lower time frame break of structure would be above 603, all right? That would be very, very low time frame though. That is not the case on an M5 or anything like that, because these moves down have been very, very aggressive. But a lower time frame character change will happen here on a very low time frame. That is a 1 minute character change. All right, something like this. Retest this area, and then we can see what's what. Do we then get something like this for a move up, which is what we got yesterday? But today, again, I'm going to remind you, is very different. We have a higher time frame, an hourly candle, which has changed character. The hourly candle is outside the bear flag. It is broken down. It's very aggressive. and it will want to trade lower. So it all depends. Can we reprice? We have 1 minute until a new hourly candle. So how does this candle close? Right? Does the new hour offer some relief before going lower? Or does it need to reprice all the way up? This would still be very, very bearish on an hourly and an M15 and things like that. Time of day, very, very key. I'm always looking at how hourly candles close and where their lows are. So here is your relief, all right? Not surprising that it is coming into the close and open of a new hour. Very, very common. We talked about this pretty much every day on stream. There's the reclaim of 600. Looks like TradingView has gone down. Well, there we go. It wasn't printing that candle. Very odd. Have it on Ninja in front of me. Okay, so here is the relief into the new hourly candle. Everything we just talked about, all right? So now you have to think about, will the new hour candle rebalance some of this, or is that it? Is it just going to print lower, and that move right now is just manipulation? So we're waiting to see now on the new hour. Previous day low here, very, very key. Can it reclaim it and hold on to it, or are we about to move lower? Bollinger Band now sitting way, way down. It has lots of room to trend down to that lower Bollinger Band if it wants over this session and the next session. Another 200 points.
Sell iceberg NQ. Absorptions buyers NQ.
If we're going to take out late shorts, you might want to pop towards that 46, which is an old imbalance where we broke down from. Here we broke down. These buyers got trapped. We retested them. They got trapped. If it really wanted to retest that, it's going to come up there and wash them out, which is right into that initial balance. Again, we are expecting lower prices, but we are at low of day. We are at previous day low. We're outside the initial balance low. The easiest trade here will be a very nice continuation trade, which would be a build of liquidity for lower prices, like a bear flag or a head and shoulders or something like that on a microstructure. We're going to get bullish. We're going to need to reclaim all of these levels. No conviction in here. Notice it just feels like manipulation so far into that new hourly candle. So this is the hourly low, 63. So if it breaks that hourly low, you're going to get hourly continuation. If we get tapering, which is what we've talked about the last few days, which is starting to happen, right? You will start to get tapering like this. It will start to move more and more horizontal. Okay, and the market will start to move like this. This will then be accumulation or distribution. Accumulation will be confirmed like this. Distribution will be confirmed like this. Again, we have done a monster move down. We are expecting some relief because smart money does not want to short lows. And I'll keep saying it, if enough shorts get stuck at low of day, they will get trapped because we will get a pop relief and smart money will start getting short up here.
Buyer sweep ES. Ice for ES sell. Buyer sweep ES. Ice for ES buy.
So remember that level we're talking about, a test of in and around that initial balance if it can get there. All right, this is your structure which it will need to clear out, these highs.
Absorptions buyers NQ.
Scanning around, seeing what the market's doing. VIX failed that supply zone at the top right, so it didn't get into that gap. It got very, very close. It has a triple top now up at that 2140, 2150. Break of 2150 is your key on VIX. So if you want to make an alert on VIX, that's where I would be making an alert. A break of 2150. Okay. This can be the creation of a major pullback leg here. We have got tapering. We are printing through these levels now that we talked about. So this is your counter trend long now. It must be a scalp, okay? You cannot be thinking about huge recovery on these levels. Okay, you're targeting just into here, and then it would be a runner. This is the first time we've started to pivot up. Break of this downtrend will trigger a re-squeeze. Remember, this is your supply up here. This is your initial balance low. Expect sellers to start coming in at those levels. I am long in this, and I am trimming positions up. Here is your rebalance, so I'm trimming a lot of position size here.
Absorptions buyers NQ.
5 left now. Just for this squeeze up. So all I was looking for as we approach these levels, we are at the initial balance low. This is key. Okay, remember what we talked about. It will need to use these levels of liquidity, all right? I would need to see it start to do this to have any conviction that we can get back up towards these levels up here. This counter trend long is playing out for now. It is just a counter trend long, guys, right? But the moves are massive. I'm up almost 100 points on this already. Right, taking that break of 05. Sorry, 50 points. My maths is shocking. Okay, so that was the, remember we had this in. We were talking about a taper, which we got right here. Reclaim of flow zones, squeeze up to deep pullback, right? Which is why I'm taking profit into deep pullback, into initial balance. This is just counter trend for me. Remember, look at the hourly chart. Right, the hourly chart might want to reprice up towards 705, 734, even that trend. It can reprice this and still be bearish. Remember, we talked about this. It can put in lower high, and then we will think about lower low. It doesn't even have to come up this far. We don't know how far it's going to come. We do not know. We can think about fibs. We go from the high of day to the current low of day. All right, look at that. A 50% retracement will be to that H1 low. So 732. If we're going to just flag, bear flag on an H1, will be into these 30 and 38% fibs, which is right where we're at now, which is also this deep pullback flow zone, which is why it's based on Fibonacci's. It's exactly what it's based on. So I'm going to trim some more here. because I'm expecting prices to pull back into this big imbalance now. Right, so I'm going to delete these just so it's cleaned up a bit for you guys to see. All right, if we're going to get bullish, we need to come back in here. Remember, this is liquidity. Okay, so if it can hold this and drive up, then we're going to use this liquidity. It's going to pull back, it's going to hold that and drive up. It can also roll over here. It can push up, steal this liquidity, roll over. Right, so you have to be aware of both sides. My entry was right here, my friends, right as we got above the flow zones, as we cleared out some of these pivots, and I added above this. All right, so it was an early entry, but we went low, high, higher low, and this was a break. So I entered in this move up and I started trimming into here. Okay, and I'm trimming that position off now. Now I'll just wait.
Buyer sweep ES. Ice for ES sell. Buyer sweep ES.
Right, so it was early from me, but I've played this market a long time and I was getting very, very used to these counter trend plays. So I can actually pull it over on the screen so you can see.
Sell ice for NQ.
Bear with me. So that's showing. Okay, so once we reclaimed this, we created a new flag. So I had a bid on here, I trimmed some off, I added heavy here, trimmed some off, I added for extension, I sold all, and I cut the rest.
Seller sweep ES.
Oh, I just showed it, but I just did it on the chart so you can see it. I'm not talking shit. All right, see why we pull some off into that deep pullback. All right, it's really important. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, so now you see I actually trade what I say. But you notice how I added aggressively for that moved off and I trimmed all my positions. So on these drives up, I am trimming positions. Because I know higher time frame, anything above this can be a failure. Now remember that anchored VWAP we put on? Right, that's this red line right here. So on the M5, we came right in towards that anchored VWAP, okay? So on the M5, we are still so bearish. Right, so if we want to reprice on the hourly, it might want to come back up towards here, but sellers might come in here. This anchored VWAP is the same position as the deep pullback, or just above the deep pullback, but we might get relief here, lower time frame. Sorry, I need to move you here, don't I? Okay, red line here. This is the anchored VWAP. We're driving into that sell anchored VWAP. We pinned that to the high. We pinned it to the high. So if we go on lower time frame now we're doing the move that we've been talking about all morning. Okay, can it do these moves here for reprice? And then it will attack these levels here. CPI low, anchored VWAP, higher time frame algo, lower time frame algo. All right, I am teaching you methods which I've taken years and years and years to back test, forward test, create data on and do. And I also have a lot of experience in the market to be able to see how the market might want to move. Right, but I just want to reiterate, this move up is counter trend, right? It's offering huge moves, right? We're 100 points off the lows already, which is a great move, but it is counter trend. Just remember that. So why is it going up? Because shorts are covering and late shorts got stuck at the lows, which is why we don't short low of day, right? So this can be a relief, and maybe up here it turns back down. For now, it's looking very good, isn't it? All right, back into the supply that we talked about right here. Okay, so notice now on the 1 minute we have printed a buy signal on the 1 minute because we have flipped momentum. Right, so I was earlier than that buy signal because I just know when it's going to come. I understand how the algorithms are working. We are repricing this now. When you look at the H1, guys, and think about value area low, right? Here's your value area low, which we're coming into. So I would say 90 into 700, 705 becomes important. Through that, 730, trend line, and 60. We can get all the way up there and still be bearish on the higher time frame. Okay, we can get all the way up there, all the way up here, and still be bearish higher time frame. This is counter trend, long, waiting to see where shorts might want to get back in the market. Does all of that make sense, guys? I know it can be a lot to take on if you haven't traded like this before. So just let me know in chat, am I making sense? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to explain anything in more detail? Happy to explain. I really want you guys to learn and understand. I'm just going to grab some water, guys. Okay, so just think about this. Top level here is your liquidity. All right, this is where the stops are. Okay, and then you need to think about, can we pull back and hold? If we pull back and hold, we're going to come into these prices up here. We are above the initial balance low, so we have a failed auction here. This is where late shorts got stuck. Okay, remember when we talked about it, the best shorts were up here. These were the best shorts, so we were trend short down until we tapered and changed, which came right here. Right, that taper changed right here and right here. Okay, so this is where the algorithm moved to a buy signal for some relief, and it might print back up to where we failed. Okay, where we failed here. Well, that's not a very good drawing, is it? Right here. Right here. Okay, so it might want to reprice to there. All right, so you are looking to see if buyers can maintain this move or if we're going to sell. Okay, so this would be back into pro trend. If we get to sell anywhere up here, it will be pro trend because you have multi-time frame alignment as a sell signal. Just gonna grab water.
By stop NQ. Buyer swing ES. Stop ES buy.
So Brian gets it. Thank you, Jen. Very kind. If you want to learn more stuff like this, there's tons of free education on my YouTube. And there's a 20-hour course available right now. The link's underneath. Code YouTube will get you that course with $100 off, $399. It is a 20-hour course, and you have access to my Discord and also this indicator and another indicator, custom made, you won't find anywhere else. Welcome to join, but of course don't, absolutely no pressure. But this is how I teach, but I teach everything from very, very start, as if no one's ever done anything before, all the way to this, all my weekly models, everything that we are looking for. Okay, so notice we've now stolen this liquidity and some sellers are trying to come in right here. Okay, and again, I'm just going to double check that fib that we had in earlier from high of day to low of day. Okay, we are right at the 38% fib. So the next extension up will be into that old H1 wick and 50. So sort of around the 730 area if it can sustain bids. Right, so now we can forget about this. Right, can we think about a new trend? So this is where a pullback would be okay coming back to. And we are long counter trend all the time. It is holding above this area here for now. Right, so we are looking for longs above here until we get a failure pattern here, and then we can think about a rotation lower. It might happen here. We don't know where it's going to happen, but this is the key in the market, is being patient, right? Being aware of the two things that might happen, right? We're now in a counter trend long, so we're looking for longs, but we know the market pro trend is short. So when it starts to shift, we are then looking for a sell signal. So we need a pattern of lower high, lower low, change of character, ideally flip the flow zones, flip the momentum clouds, and look for a short. And the short then will be back towards the area of demand, all right? So let's say we get this, we shift under here, okay, and we get short in here. We'll be looking for covers into this region, and then we'll be holding runners for breakdowns, all right? And we won't be re-adding short until it confirms a breakdown underneath that. So there is a seller who's just jumped on the tape. He is up at 720, which is just underneath that hourly candle that we were looking at. All right, so remember, if price wanted to reprice all the way up to this hourly candle, this is the 8 a.m. candle. All right, you can see, I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, this candle here, right, where buyers came in and then we pushed up. So I'm guessing that's the CPI low candle. So that would be repricing to CPI low and repricing all of this, and also repricing as a fib. Okay, as a fib, it'd be the 50% reprice. So that would be fair value on the day. So then maybe sellers will come back in. It doesn't even need to get that high. The market will do whatever it wants. We're just trying to create some thesis of what it might want to do. For now, we are in a long, all right, remember, lower time frame conditions, long, higher time frame conditions, bearish. Best moves happen when these are aligned. So when we're bearish, that's when you get your better moves. So coming back down now, key now will be, can it hold flow zones? Can it hold this block here that we broke out from? Can it hold the IB low for more upside pressure? If the answer is no, then we're going to retest these lows. But we're going to stick with longs until it proves otherwise. Remember, the red line is not normally on the screen, but this is an anchored VWAP off the high. So this is where we know sellers are. Their mean price. So if you think about how VWAP works, volume weighted average price. So I've pinned this to the high of day. So the average selling price, right, from high of day is here. All right, and the average price of buyers and sellers is this green line, but the average selling price is here. So if you wanted, all right, you could do a lower time frame buying VWAP from here, and you would need to see price stay above this to know buyers are in control. We could do this as bright blue. All right, and surprise, surprise, it comes in right at the trend line, right at this bullish lower time frame demand zone and the IBs. They're all very close. So if this fails, then the buyers from low of day who have added all the way up, they'll be underwater, and that's when we might get that fail. All right, so we're just looking for things to add up, but for now you can just think about, can we get a bull flag or a failed breakdown? Can we do something like this? All right, microstructure, rehold, reclaim, push, and then sell into these pushes. You must sell into pushes today if you are long. All right, so if you're taking longs, you've got to be selling into pushes, because you're counter trend, and at any point in time, the market can just get smacked by a large player. How many of all of you watching have traded like this before? How many of you trade smart money concepts, or do you trade EMAs, or do you have an automated system? Is this completely new to you, how I'm teaching you? Is it very, very different from what you've been taught before? Really interested to see what your backgrounds are. Okay, so remember, we are thinking about longs until it proves otherwise. This kind of structure. I'd want to see it reclaim for a continuation move. You're very aware that sellers are in control, long term, higher time frame. This is the liquidity that's going to be key, lower time frame for now. And for now, we are holding this liquidity. Once that changes, we will think about a change in narrative back to bearish, bearish. Remember, we have a violent, volatile market today. You do not need to be using massive size. So the VIX, if you're looking at the VIX, again, I'm going to repeat, it failed to get into that gap. It got stuck at supply, got really, really close, and it failed. But on an M10 chart, those who are using my traditional flow zones, you will see it is holding the flow zones on an M10. Okay, so this is key here. Does the VIX put in a lower high, lower low, or is it going to curl and reclaim? Potential flag starting to play out here. All right, potentially starting to play out. You will need good risk reward. So here is the push on the flag. Yes, you need to be very careful with entries here, because it can flush really, really quick, because again, we're counter trend. Right, so if you're long here, you should be risking here, and you should be attacking these moves and selling on pushes. The moment you get volume stepping in your direction, you should be moving break even, because you do not know if sellers are going to re-attack up here. So this is nice trade already. Beautiful, 20 points for you already here. So move that stop break even, start trimming some of this. Okay, and then hold the runners, because if the market does get going a bit like yesterday and uses this, okay, and we break through this, you can get a very nice squeeze up. All right, so you're 20 points in the money off this flag right now. Everything we just talked about. Do not be adding late into this. Do not be adding late into these moves on counter trend. Right, 700 is going to be key psychological level. Remember, on H1, if we can reprice that wick, it will be up towards the CPI wick here, which is also the 5-day and the anchored VWAP. Right, this is why I say trim your position, move break even. With counter trend, you do not know what will happen. So right now, you've got lower time frame traders trying to bid the market up, and you have higher time frame traders trying to sell the market down. Okay, if you're struggling to see what I've drawn you, you can just move to a line chart, which is what I always tell you to do. If you cannot see it, make it really easy. Look how obvious this is. And if we get aggressive, where are we going to go? Okay, so we took the liquidity from all these levels on the left, and now we're going to try and reprice up. Now, I haven't touched any of these since we did the stream yesterday. These are the same levels we were looking at. Right, so we know buyers are stuck up here. So these buyers are likely to become sellers. All right, really simple, isn't it? Super, super simple. Okay, so you need structure to hold here. You need this structure to hold and create a flag like this. If this does not hold, this will be the end of the pullback leg. Everything on the board is red other than Nvidia, which has moved green to red, red to green. Everything else has downside pressure, including bonds. Dixie is still in a disgusting range. Yeah, looking good for a push here currently. If these sellers keep moving up, the algorithm will follow them up. Yeah, bid support down at 680 currently. I'm going to stay with you for about another hour, so just into lunch. If volume completely dries up on the hour, I'll leave, but I'll try and stay with you just past 12 o'clock. So if you're in long here, you should have trimmed some, you should have moved that stop up to break even, or at least at that pivot, and you're looking for a break of structure. Right, break of structure is above 705, all right? You know that 700 is a psychological level, which is why we trimmed some on the push. So we're looking for a squeeze above 700, above 705 to retest this sell anchored VWAP, to retest yesterday's close, to retest the 5-day, to retest the high time frame algo, to retest normal VWAP, and to retest the lower time frame algo. So everything is in a very close area here of about 40-50 points. So a squeeze up into this, you must sell because you have this imbalance here. So once it reprices that, that could be the end of the squeeze. Hold a runner, of course, hold a runner, because we don't know. If it wants to be violent like yesterday, it can reprice the whole thing. In my mind, that's unlikely, but you must hold a runner and give yourself the chance to do it. So here's your push. Really, really nice here. Beautiful, beautiful trade. All right, so you got a seller on the tape now up at 720. So I'm thinking he will get filled. He's adding to his position. They are trying to sell more and more and more up there, dragging the market up. Here you go. So here is the sell anchored VWAP. We are tapping on it right now. And can we get a squeeze up into previous day close? See how it's stuffing against this anchored VWAP, all right? So those are the original traders who sold the top. They are reselling on that anchored VWAP, all right? That's institutional order flow. They will sell via VWAPs. If they are in a sell signal today, they will be paid extra money to sell towards VWAPs. That is literally how it works. They will have orders of, say, 100,000 contracts, and they are ordered to sell at VWAPs. They also have not just anchored VWAPs, they also have time-based VWAPs. So they might have to sell 1,000 contracts every hour, for example. All right, so notice how it literally tapped that anchored VWAP and got stuffed. So now you're seeing Can price hold these flag patterns for continuation higher, or will this be the start of the end of the pullback? Will this be something like this and you will need a break below here, retest, flush? But for now, you stick with it. Very steep trend here. So a true change of character would not happen until you broke below here. This is the low, right, which created the high. So this is a breakout retest for now, but you have to be aware, like I keep hammering home, we are in a sell on higher time frames. Reprice on the H1 will be up to 30. My bet is that at some point we are going to see new sellers come back into the market. Nothing's changed here. Same guy on the book at 720. There's a new seller at 700, 115 contracts, and he also has a seller above him at 705. So again, it's that psychological level and the anchored VWAP. Notice how for now that flag is holding. We broke out, we retested it, and it's holding. When that starts to change, we can think about sells.
Absorptions buyers NQ.
If you don't know how to use anchored VWAP, if you've never used it before, there is a video for free on my YouTube. And if you're just joining, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, really helps me with the stream, with my channel. Okay, push through 703, looking for a break of 705 here for a drive up into 15 where a seller is, and a bigger seller is at 20. Okay, so right into the anchored VWAP. That's what we're looking for. Can it sustain bid action above that? Because it's very clear that sells keep coming in here. So we need to squeeze them now for higher prices. It's their stops that are going to allow higher prices. Beautiful, there you go. So he's been run out of the market. They are adding up to 25, 30, 35 now. Really, really nice. Just follow the momentum. So here we go into previous day close here, 5-day, higher time frame algo, lower time frame algo. Everything we talked about is playing out. This is not hindsight. This is what we talked about live. No worries, Ramus. Thanks for joining, and I hope you have a good day. Okay, so you don't want to be like some of these other channels that are just teaching you, oh, I'm going to short here at resistance. The pattern is not a sell in what you're watching in front of you. So there's no short, all right? You will join the short if it presents a sell signal at supply, not because it gets to supply. This is where people seem to be going wrong on things like Top Step TV. It's fine to see levels, but price action would dictate it needs to react at a level for you to think about an entry. We had reactions here, didn't we? Right? Once we flipped bullish, we had reactions showing us buyers are in control. If buyers are in control, why are we looking for a sell? Right? We're taking partials and we're holding runner. We're not looking for a short signal until it very clearly offers something that says we're going short, like this. Until that point, stick with the long now, all right? Trend is bullish, lower time frame. And if we get through this, it's going to go trend bullish on higher time frame, right? Because we have a low resistance liquidity run, right? Think about this trend here. Everyone who's short in here, all their stops are over here, right? So if the market does a nasty move like yesterday, it's going to take every single one of them out. Hold your runner. Right, so hopefully you've got enough that you can take a partial into these areas. This is a beautiful move now. Take some partials into these areas, hold the runners. All right, we're now into a liquidity build phase rather than bearish, and we're about to go into a bullish phase. There you go. So we are into a bullish squeeze now, and we are repricing that whole last H1 candle. However, what area are we coming into? Higher time frame. Look at the H1. It's coming and back testing the trend that we broke down from. So if it can get through these wicks and this level here, it will come up to the candle open, which is all the way up at 92, and then the point of control. This would be a very, very violent move. So reclaiming all the key levels now. The question is on pullbacks, can it hold them? That is the new question. So your new change of character, technically on a lower time frame, is right here. Right, but I think you would need to see all this price here hold. These old levels above here, this all needs to hold for continuation. Okay, so we can get rid of this anchored VWAP, right? Those sellers just got squeezed out. Notice once we got through that, once we got through this, this is what triggered the squeeze. This is the sellers stopping out, which means they're covering and they're buying back at the market. We're through the CPI candle, all right? And again, the same squeeze factor. All the sellers who shorted the low of CPI, they're now out. They are out of the money. All you're looking for is continuation longs right now. Must understand that the best moves have happened from the long side, right? The best entries are here. We will expect shorts to come in the market at some point, but if we're going to do a V-shaped recovery, then the initial balance high is not out of the question. Okay, this move here is, as a reminder, the same move we did yesterday. Let's just go back to yesterday. We talked about it before I left the stream. If we reclaim IB, you always have to be careful. Right, here was the same move yesterday. All right. Notice how the patterns are very, very repeatable. Nothing has changed here, ladies and gents. Nothing has changed. Nice steep trend line. Shorts are now covering. They are getting squeezed and they are starting to sweat. All right? That's literally what's happening. They are getting squeezed right now. Too many shorts got stuck at the lows. Why we don't short lows, while we follow momentum. All right? We just follow what the chart tells us in front of us. That's how you make money every single day. Remember, my entry point was all the way down here, okay, and I'm still holding one runner. And until it starts fading, don't need to close it. Nice Coop, no worries. Hope you have a good day, buddy. I'm gonna check what you did. Let's go! Nice profits in the room. Love to see it. Love to see it. My room all green again today. Really, really good.
Eyes for ES buy. Seller swing ES.
All right, so psychological here, 1800, 18,800. So expect a bump in the road here from a whole number, and we have a micro volume high up here. So the point of control currently is just above this. All right, flick over here, H1. This is the point of control. This is where the most volume has been traded on the day, is around this area. So 1810, but it's a block, right? There's three big bars here. This is a block. This is where all the volume is traded. We've repriced this whole H1 down. This is not a very common move. It's common in this market, but in a normal trending market, this is not common. So if, big question, if this is a trap, okay, we can target this and target the upside. Just stick with this trade, guys. Stick with the trade, stick with the momentum, hold your runners. It's not really offered much of a pullback for you to get involved in, all right? It's not offered much of a pullback because we're in a squeeze, that's why. So the only thing was a slight hesitation here, but a better pullback will be like this, okay? But when you're in a squeeze and shorts are rushing to cover, right, they're tripping over each other, this is when you get these moves up with no pullbacks. This is how you know it's a short squeeze. And when the short squeeze ends, you must be careful, because if it ends here, let's say, and buyers have like rushed in, late buyers, buy, and we do a pullback, they're gonna get washed out, and this is where you get trend change. So a healthy trend looks like what we had this morning, all right? Pullback, fail, pullback, fail, pullback, fail. An unhealthy trend looks like this when we start to extend. So you must not chase these, all right? Do not get FOMO and chase these. Just be patient. Beautiful. Nice extension. Again, straight through that 1800. So there were a lot of stops there quite clearly, and we're starting to expand upside. So we are looking to target that IB high now. Cannot believe I'm saying it, but that's what the market is telling us it wants to do. All right, so if we can get through this point of control, we will target the IB high. And guys, guess what? Patrick Wyland blew up his accounts again. All right, blew up his accounts again today. So that's 2 days in a row blown up. Hopefully, trading with me will stop you doing that. Do not be that person. Just understand higher time frame narrative. It will help you. You do not need to be trading big size with big volatility, with big ATR. Small size, big moves equals good, consistent profit. If you are trading 5, 10 contracts of this, minis, you will get smoked, because these pullbacks right now from 800, it can pull back all the way down to 750 and still be bullish, right? And there's no way you can sit through that pain when you're oversized. Small size, good entries, move the stops up, take the partials, understand what the market conditions are. Okay, so again, I'm just going to flick over to a 5-minute chart. Where have we come up to? Those who have been on stream, where have we come up to? So the next target, okay, will be this level right here. There's a little hesitation here, and then it would be all the way up here, right? And if we're going to fail early, oh, wrong one. What's my fib? Is that it? we're going to fail early or be into golden pocket, which we are starting to get into the mid-range of. All right, so just understand everything. Do you want to be longing up here? No, the longs were down here. Okay, so now you need a breakout retest long to be comfortable with. Oh, is that not even showing on the chart? There you go. My bad. Sorry, guys. Okay, so remember we drew this out earlier? Right here. Right, we drew this out earlier. That's what we're looking for. There's the inverse head and shoulders multiple times. We are now into areas where buyers got trapped, became sellers. We need to see if they become sellers again, or if they're exhausted. Maybe we can do something like this and continue grinding. Maybe it has to come down to this level first and then do it. We don't know. We just create theories. We follow structure. VIX is getting absolutely smoked. Now down at 1950. So I'd be really thinking now, is the market going to pull back to this trend? All right, where VWAP and all these algos are, where all the bid support is. I'm not just going to buy it if it comes down there, because we've done a huge move up already. Okay, so to buy this, I'd need to see something bullish, right? So ideally, I see like a trap, something like that, if I'm going to participate in it. But at the moment, I'm still holding my runner. There's no reason for me to exit this. Although I am getting close because I don't really want to give back 50 points on a flush. All right, so I'm going to exit that there and I can re-add. All right, so there was just one of them was left. That was it. Okay, solid day on just one account. This is the same account. I'm just going to keep trading while I'm on stream. Okay, so potential new flag here. They are soaking. I do not like that it has not come very deep. Makes me uncomfortable as a bull to be thinking about participating up here. I'd much rather see a deep pullback, trap in shorts, and then look for the extension. Again, you have 8 minutes until a new hourly bar. So we need to think about that. Where are we closing on the hourly? Are we going to close above the previous hours open? Previous bear candle down, can we close above that? Can we get above the previous hourly candle high? Because then we can use the open close levels as support structures. Same way you do on the lower time frame. So on a higher time frame, you know, if we can close up here, then we can afford a pullback to this level, can't we, for a continuation. If you're new to the stream, do me a favor, hit that like button, drop me a subscribe. All the links are down below if you want to join my community and course. It is a one-time fee and you do get the signals, the indicator on the chart right now. No pressure to do that. It's there if you want it. It's on sale with code YouTube. Hey. So starting to roll a little bit here, right? This is what we're talking about, into the golden zone. Is it going to hold these areas? Is it going to put in a trap or a bullish pattern? Or is this the end of the squeeze and we're going to come all the way back down to retest this? These are the questions I have in my head right now. Okay, so 770, we have a bid, should probably near the trend lines. and the lower time frame algos. So I'm not buying into these bearish candles moving down because we don't know how far they're going to go, because we can really, if all of this is a squeeze, all right, so is there much structure here then? You have to ask yourself, can it just do that? Absolutely, it can if it wants. That's why you just don't just buy bearish candles moving down. Otherwise, you might end up buying the whole leg down. ES is right at VWAP right now. The VIX has found a little bit of a bid. It's trying to find a bounce. So really what I would love to see is like a two-leg here and a reclaim. That would be the easiest way for me to think about a potential continuation upside, because then I'll know that shorts probably get trapped on that two-leg. All right, we can think about this again. Can we flip this? All right, can this effectively become like that? Or do we need to revisit all the way down here? All right, because this is thin. This is the squeeze. I know this is the QQQ, but it's the same principles as the NQ, right? It's just the ETF. That's why you don't buy bearish candles just moving down. Right, there's not even a pullback candle on the 1 minute until we get into 61s down to 53s, all right, down into the VWAP. So we need to wait right now. Got 5 minutes until a new H1. For now, holding the lower time frame algorithm, holding the flow zones above the higher time frame algorithm, above VWAP for now, but we're waiting for a bullish signal if we're going to participate long. But this can quite easily come down to 700 to 650. Very, very easily, guys. Very easily it can do that. There is not much structure in that move up. It was a squeeze up, so it can be a very sharp elevator down, especially coming into a new hourly candle. All right, so we're starting to break down here. That's why we don't add. All right, so everything I've been teaching you, hopefully it's really sinking in. Elevator is coming down now because we squeezed up, right? There's no buyers in here. Not many buyers in here. This was shorts covering. So they're exhausted now. They've got out. Sellers have come back in. And now we're coming back down to levels of structure. All right, levels of structure. There we go. Why I say don't buy the down candles where it's thin. Look how big this candle is now because this is thin. Does that all make sense to everyone in chat? Like, can you understand what I'm talking about here? If it doesn't make sense, I'm happy to like make a drawing and go over it in a quick class and explain before I leave for the day. This is not meant in a condescending way. Like, I genuinely want to help you all. So if you don't understand, please just say in chat. There's never a stupid question. So this is previous day close right here. And the CPI print level. This is the CPI print. I'm just going to remove it because it's a bit messy. All right, we know the buyers are in control down at this blue line. This is their buying anchored VWAP off the low. This is where buyers are in control. So we might want to come and retest where the structure is. If it doesn't want to do that, what would we think about? We could just quite simply think about a fib of this structure here. All right, and we're coming into a golden zone. In fact, we exactly tapped it, 61.8. We tapped that pullback. So the best trap here for a long will be to use this. I would have preferred if it did something like this, because then I will know they're trapped in here. I have been drawing this out for you over the last 10-15 minutes of what I would like to see if they're going to trap them. You have 90 seconds until a new hourly candle. This can be manipulation down to trap and push back up. All right, everything we've talked about. We are finding bid support on the CPI Newsweek candle, right? Newsweek candle. This is what we were talking about. This move, this trap move here. I would have preferred this. This would give me a much better target to think about using for liquidity. But we have been talking about this over and over again. ES attempting to reclaim VWAP, which it is now after rebalancing itself on an M10 candle. So this is looking pretty bullish now for a potential trap. So this might have been the trap move back to a good area, back to the deep pullback. All right, so we came build, squeeze, big deep pullback. Maybe we can do something like this and return to higher day. If we cannot get through this, all right, this can be supply intraday and roll over. But we are looking very good now for a potential squeeze up into these levels. Structure is not bullish yet. All right, unfortunately, it did not do a nice move like this. That would have been much, much better. We do not always get what we want. But we are holding deep pullback, lower time frame, higher time frame, momentum. All right, for now, we are trend bullish again. This is a new hourly candle now. So we have closed pretty much at exactly the same spot the last 3 hours. We've opened and closed at the same spots. All right, so can we drive up now, clear out the liquidity of 20, or are we going to fail this and reprice all the way back down? I would want to see dips hold here. Again, I do not love this structure here. Do not love this because we can do this. So really we need to do something like this now. Participating here and here for squeeze ups. We are into lunch now as well, so it's really not ideal. And we did finish the squeeze, so I need to see genuine bid participation to the upside. Do have a seller above 800. Right, it's probably up into here. Over 100 contracts, up into 12. Between 10 and 12, over 100 contracts. So can the market use that as a draw to get through? Now, I would imagine now you have intraday stops, short side here. So if we do this, it might squeeze pretty violently. This is looking really good. It's a real shame it didn't give us nicer structure on the way down to use as an inverse head and shoulder, but we were expecting this move. Deep pullback down, we were expecting it. And a reclaim up for the trap. All right, rewind the last 10 minutes. It's everything I've been talking about. Really good here, looking great here. Just want it to pop that high and you will trigger a squeeze up and you'll probably get a bit of momentum upside. There you go. All right, here's your squeeze up. All right, so you should be taking partial into that if you took any of this. Take partials into the volume squeezes. Now hold your runners for a potential move to previous day highs and opens and IB highs. And then of course over IB high, if we can base over IB high, we can think about a trend day to the upside. Cannot believe I'm saying that, but that is what I'm now seeing in front of me. I can only trade what's in front of me. Really, really good move here. How many of you caught some of this? Beautiful. Still targeting, all right? We are still targeting previous day high and close and the IB high. We are still looking to target that. We will need to see structure hold now. All right, you need to see some of this structure hold. Alex, could you enter this move? How could you have entered it? Yeah, it was tricky. Okay, it was very tricky because, like I said, the structure was not really nice. But on a reclaim here, right above the flow zones on this pullback here, this was the kind of move, right? So if you think about this as a violent bear flag, bull flag, remember we don't enter on the way down, we enter on the reclaim. This break here, that gave you an entry. This little stop start here, that gave you an entry. Now we're going to target these highs. Lovely. Okay, so partial into this, please. If you took it, hold your runners. All right, this is previous day close. We're looking for previous day high and IB high. We will pop IB high. If we get up there, there is so many stops here. Remember I said this was a low resistance liquidity run. All their stops are getting run out. They are in big trouble here, the shorts. No worries, Bart. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're going to go for that IB high, guys. I'm telling you, we're going for that 900 psychological level and the IB high. We have caught this move. We called this move right from here. We're now up 300 points on stream from where I gave the entry signals. Okay, even if you took this signal right here, or you can trade with these other guys who would offer you 10 points. It's up to you. So PDH has now been taken out. It's that red line. Again, this is a squeeze, right? It's happened very violently. These are shorts covering. So there's a lack of structure up here. So if it wants to pull back and retest this, it can do that and still be bullish. Same as this. Here's your structure. Squeeze, pullback, retest. Squeeze, pullback, retest. Okay, when there's a lack of structure on the way up, it can give deep pullbacks before it does this. Alternatively, right, what the market often likes to do at highs like this is do some bullshit, right? Some bullshit like that. All right, because it might need to get more shorts involved. If not enough shorts are now trapped, if they all stopped out in this, it's got to encourage more shorts. So it's got to give them a reason to make them think, okay, we can get involved here down to here, and then just squeeze them out. I'll give you a couple more minutes, guys, and then I'm going to head out for the day. Again, very nice, right? We flipped it. This was red, it became blue. We've gone straight through this. These are the next targets. Don't fight it. Do not fight what's in front of you. Remember, this can be a deep pullback. This can be exactly the same as we had here. It can be very deep because these candles here are very aggressive. So you're looking for a flag or a trap up here, or a trap to take out this high, and you must sell into that push. It can fail up here, all right? So you cannot join until it gives a new signal like it did down here. If it fails, right, same principles apply. We're going to use this liquidity here to fail, right? So if buyers came in here late and buyers come in here late, it can do something that will look like that, right? Failure under here, retest, come all the way back down. Again, that is actually what we did, I think yesterday or overnight possibly. Trying to remember now. Yeah, pretty much overnight. So yesterday we did this exact move up to the IB high, we squeezed through it, and then overnight in Asia we came all the way back down to like this region here, the equivalent of this region where we broke out from. So see, here's a strong move down because it's got to reprice it, all right? This doesn't mean it's bearish, but on a squeeze up, we will reprice to the downside because no one of any intelligence is buying up here. Okay, so the structure is this whole leg here. This is where the structure is, that it will need to hold and put in a bullish signal. ES actually just got stuck at the 5-day moving average, guys. 5-day moving average, that's where it traded up to. Would love this just to get to IB high for everyone on the stream, and then I can leave. Okay, so you're still looking for bullish signals. You're looking for bullish patterns, bullish signals, ideally into here if the market is kind. If it starts rejecting constantly, you must be cautious, all right? You must be cautious. You need to wait if it's going to start to stay heavy. You can only trade what's in front of you. I would advise using much smaller size if you're on the long side right now, up here, because much like we talked about the short side, right? We were long from all the way down here. Right, so we had really good risk reward, didn't we? When we're thinking about longs down there, okay, that's our risk reward. Now your risk reward is much, much smaller. If you get an entry here, it's basically a 1-to-1. Okay, so nowhere near as good. Flag still looking pretty good here. I do see a seller on the tape now, all the way up at 900, which would be that pop through the IB high. All right, it would help us get the pop through the IB high, or at least right at it. So a 2-leg now would be a new lower low and then a reclaim. That'd be a 2-leg pullback. Again, structure-wise, this is the low that matters. So anything in this is huge range, but anything in that doesn't really matter. This is the low that created this high. So we can do this and still go up, right? This is still bullish down here. No worries, Jerry. When in doubt, guys, when in doubt, especially guys that do the course, when in doubt, just do what this is telling you. All right? Don't fight. Whatever you do, do not fight this. That's when you are fighting institutional traders. Okay, so this would be the 2-leg pullback. If this can make a new low under this, This will be the two-leg pullback. If this fails, if it makes a new low and then starts to reclaim aggressively, it can be the potential inverted head and shoulders. The one thing that is making me a little bit uncomfortable is looking at the ES. The ES has relative weakness. It is nowhere near its initial balance high. In fact, it's at the mid-range and it is completely stuck on its 5-day moving average. That's the only thing here that makes me very, very uncomfortable. I would like to see the ES near its highs on day, because what that's telling me is tech is strong. And if I had a look through the sectors, I'd probably find like medical might be weak, maybe oil and gases or energies are weak, maybe the banks are weak. So we have relative strength right now in NQs because most of the Mag 7 have gone green to red and then red to green. So you've got Apple now green above that 220 we talked about. Microsoft green coming into 415. Amazon is down, but it is coming into and around the 180. Google reclaimed 150. Meta above 500, but is slightly down on the day. Nvidia is up on the day over that 110, trading at 112 almost. And Tesla is the weakest of the bunch. That is down 3 or almost 4 points on the day, but it is above that 220 mark. So here we go. Here is the potential squeeze of that flag. So you can see that flag playing out now. It held the Momo clouds. It failed actually to do the two-leg. It didn't even break underneath. And now all those shorts are going to get trapped. Okay, I would have preferred that to break underneath for the trap plate, but it's fine. Again, we don't always get what we want. This is your flag, right? And here is a micro W. And if we can do this, we are going to do this. Does not need to be complicated, guys. You must just follow what's in front of you. Don't gamble, don't guess. Just follow what's in front of you. That's all you've got to do trading. It's actually really, really hard to do because your brain will just tell you price is too high, I need to be short. Price is too low, I need to be long. Or you will chase, oh, market's going up, I'm going to get long with it. And you don't allow the market to breathe and pull back. Just got to follow what is in front of you. Avoid bad teaching. Avoid, and I love the guys, but avoid stuff like Top Step. If they're calling levels out, but they're not waiting for price to dictate how it acts, don't go and learn there, guys. Don't go and learn from people who are gambling. I used to do the same thing. Find a system. Doesn't have to be my system. I would love it to be my system and I can teach you. Just find a system that works for you. There's a sellers coming back in the market. Again, my thesis on this currently is that the ES cannot get through its 5-day. Nice, Ryan. Good work. Just be careful on your phone, buddy. All right, so ES is stuck at that 5-day. That for me is an issue because that could be the mean reversion to the 5-day for lower prices. All right, NQ feels very, very different to that. We have pretty big divergence between these two markets right now. Bonds have now gone green, so they've gone red to green as well, the treasuries. Dixie still in just a horrendous range. Convinced that post-election the Dixie is going to get decimated. I'm absolutely convinced of that, but we will see. The double, yeah. Or hopefully it goes soon, man. It's been a long time. So I caught COVID this time on the way back from visiting a friend in New York. There was a woman really sick next to me on a flight. I was flying Delta. She was throwing up and sweating before the flight even took off. And in my opinion, she shouldn't have been on the flight. She was clearly very, very ill. And that's a long flight back to Los Angeles, 6 or 7 hours. and she stunk of puke. So I was looking straight ahead, trying to ignore her, and lo and behold, I got really, really ill with COVID 2 days later. I wrote to Delta and complained about it, and they said there was nothing that they could do. And my argument was, surely safety of the passengers matters. So does experience. I just paid, what, like $700-800 to sit next to someone being ill the whole flight. Pretty gross. All right, I really want this to tag that IB high for you so that I can leave, but maybe I'm not going to get what I want and have to be okay with that. You do not want, right, this would be my worry. If point of control flips to up here and we cannot break, it means too many buyers have chased in, and then we're going to do a deeper move. All right, so yes, this can be accumulation, absolutely. But if you zoom out, why are we accumulating up here? I want to see this just go, right? I want to see it go, or I want to see it fail and reclaim everything we've talked about. Because your pullback legs were very, very clear, and the channel is still very, very clear. All right, that is the channel that we're currently in. Still think we take out IB high. Convinced of it. There's too many stops up there to just leave. We haven't come all this way not to do it, but I need to see us get through 900. The moment we get through IB high, I am going to sign off because I feel like I've given pretty good value today. Here we go. There's the 900. Do it for me. You got to do it for me. You got to do it for me. Just rip it. Absolutely rip through it. Pay everyone in the stream. Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys, so partials into that, please. If you took that flag, if you took anything on this move up, you must take partials and reduce your size right down. That is over a 300-point winner from entry. My entry on that, first entry on that was 570 and an add at 600, all right? So over 300 points on that. No worries, Nate Dogg. By the way, he was my favorite artist, man. I had all his albums. So sick. And it's pretty cool living in Cali, where those guys will grow up. All right, so there's your drive up. I'm going to sign off here. I will leave you with some thoughts before I go on what you can potentially have happen. All right, so we have pretty much done a full V-shaped recovery. Okay, this is your recovery. So new longs up here, all right, are not advised because we have done the V-shaped recovery. The only longs now, right, unless we're looking at pullbacks, the only longs upside need to be breakout, retest and hold above the initial balance and really above this Asia London high, okay, because that is actually above the initial balance. The pre-market high is above the initial balance. So you will need to see some action like this for sustained longs. However, higher time frames, let's see where we're at. All right, let's just go over this before I go. This is a monster trap on the H1 and reclaim. Monster, monster, monster move. This would be a target, all right? Obviously that first high, but these levels right here. In fact, let me draw it in as red. This here is old supply. All right, so if we are able to go further, it will be targeting that, and then it will be targeting all these wicks over here. We have done a huge move today. All right, if you made money on this move with me, ask yourself, do you need to be here and participate anymore? That's a 300-point move. We've traded all the way from old points of control and under. All right, we had a huge move down this morning and a huge move back up in a reversal. This could quite easily consolidate for the remainder of the day and just trade back down into this range, all right, and wait for tomorrow maybe, or tomorrow maybe. We'll have to see how and where we close. There's no reason to be re-entering at these highs is what I'm trying to get through. Okay, don't chase the market. All right, again, tap the initial balance high and we sold. Okay, and we sold. So just think about that channel. If we start breaking underneath now, these levels here, the market can flip bearish. Okay, just intraday. So please be very, very cautious. Hopefully today helped you. Let me know in chat if you made some money, if you found it useful. Please subscribe to my channel, it means a lot. If you want to do the course, it is of course on sale right now. Link is underneath, 20-hour course, plus the Discord, plus the flow zone that you see on the chart with all the different signals and indicators, and there is also another one for higher time frames. Until tomorrow, trade safe, and as always, use hard stops. Peace out.